Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to today's video. We are doing a killer tier list. Now, with all the controversy of the new update and all the killers being changed and stuff like that, I wanted to make a tier list just based on average skill level. It's not for top tier or anything like that. It's just going to be based on if an average killer goes up against an average team, who you're going to have the easiest time on, and what killer's powers are the strongest. This isn't going to be a perk video or anything like that. We're going to totally negate those. We might do that in another video, so let me know if you guys want to see that. But we're going to do this one today, and we're going to start from the bottom of the tier list. And I think still at the bottom of the tier list is the pig. Now, the reason for this is that the pig is still a really weak killer in terms of map pressure. She just feels really slow. I know that the 6.1.0 update did buff her quite a bit, made her a lot stronger, but it also did that for everyone else. So in my opinion, her position hasn't really changed that much. I feel like she's still on the bottom somewhere. Now, next up is the Trapper. Now, he is a little bit stronger, so I feel like he might be edging into the back of C, but again, he's setting up, and if you have survivors that know what they're doing, they won't go into the zone where he set up his traps, or they'll have someone go in to disarm them after he places them and stuff like that. So basically, you can always counter against a Trapper, and it's super difficult to win with Trapper. You need to first up know how to place his traps so that they can't dodge them, and then also make sure the survivors aren't just finding a way to get past them or just disarming them if you have no add-ons. Alright, so with Trapper out of the way, I believe the next killer I'm going to put on this list is going to be Michael Myers. Now, Michael Myers can definitely be a strong killer in some scenarios, but for the most part, he is very slow. If you're playing him inconsistently and stalking people for the majority of the match, you're going to find it hard to get enough pressure, and there'll just be gens popping left, right, and center. If they just don't group up, as soon as they find out it's Myers, they all go to different gens. You stalk one, they drop a pallet, and you get a chase. By that time, there's 3 gens that are running, if they're doing it right, and they're at 50%, and, you know, just something like that. It feels really slow to get him exposed. And yeah, compared to all the other killers, I'm going to have to put him at the bottom of this list also. So I think moving up a tier at the back of C tier, we've got Freddy. Freddy is quite good, but again, he is a little bit difficult to win with. His dream pallets can be really effective against people who don't know, so maybe that would make a difference in the average people that play the game. But for the most part, people are going to realize, you know, oh, I've already been to this part of the map before, and I've already dropped it. So yeah, Freddy is not that great. Next up, we've got Doctor. I think the Doctor is actually in a pretty weak place right now, even after the updates. You know, you can have some fun builds with him, like the one I did yesterday, skill checks builds and stuff like that. But in my opinion, Doctor is quite weak, and if you know what you're doing against him, it's gonna be a rough time for the Doctor. Next up on the list, I think I'm going to have to put the Onryo here, or however you say her name. She can be quite good. You know, she can set up someone on a hook, teleport back to a TV, use that burst with some of her add-ons and stuff like that. But the base character of Onryo, you know, sometimes she just feels a little bit weak, and she can just be gen rushed really quickly as well. Alright, so next on the list, I think I'm going to put Ghostface. These probably are closely tied together depending on how well you're playing them. But yeah, Ghostface can be easily avoided. If you just take a hit when he stalked you, he's going to lose that exposed status. And if you just look at him, sometimes it's a little bit buggy, but if you just look at him, for the most part, it's going to cancel out his ability completely. And if you're just expecting it to be a Ghostface, or as soon as you figure out it's a Ghostface, if you can play around that, you will have quite a strong time. Now, we're getting into the terrain of killers now where they're still strong, but there's just so many killers out there, there's 28, that someone is stronger. So in my opinion, I hate versing the clown, but I'm going to have to put him here as well. He feels super annoying to verse and super strong, but in the long run, he is just not as strong as the other killers. You know, there has been some scenarios where if you just don't know how to loop him, you know, it can be really difficult and you'll just take it down. And usually that's what happens with me. But in terms of the overall scheme of things, would I rather go up against a clown, or up against a I don't know, a nurse, a spirit, a plague, a hag, a blight, anything else like that, no. Clown is definitely below all of those things, and also a lot of other things too. So I think I'm going to leave him down here. And yeah, this is also just my opinions too, so I'm just going to go it based off the games I've had since the update, because that's basically what I can go off as well. All right, so next up on the list, I'm going to put Hillbilly. Now, I've actually never lost to a Hillbilly since the update. I've versed about 5 or 6, and they've got 1 or 2 downs. Now, he's a very high skill character, and sometimes it just turns out that they are whiffing their chainsaw over and over again, and that in turn just leads for a very, very difficult game for them. So yeah, I put Hillbilly there, potentially even below some of these people, but I haven't seen many of these people very much, so I'm just going to put him right there. All right, next up we're going to put Wraith. Wraith feels quite strong, but again, compared to everyone else, his power is just a little bit underwhelming. You can get the element of surprise, a free hit, and potentially a quick down if you know how to use his speed boost out of the cloak, but for the most part, it's just a bit weak in terms of map pressure compared to everyone else. Especially having the cloak, people will tend to stay on generators for longer, and therefore the gens are going to go a little bit quicker. You need the correct perks on all of these killers here to really feel the strength and to make the game a little bit easier for yourself. So now I think that's it for this tier. I was thinking about putting Bubba here, but I think I'm going to put him at the end of B. I can't decide. I think we'll leave him here for now, because for the most part, you don't see many good players on Bubba himself, and he is then very easy to loop. If you don't know when to pull up the chainsaw, or if you pull it up too early or too late, you can just be looped almost infinitely, and that's why I'm putting him here, just because the average player on Leatherface or Bubba is not going to be doing what you need to be doing to get the downs with him. Alright, so moving on to the B tier, I'm going to put Legion there. Legion is really strong if the survivors aren't playing well against him. If you get more than 2 hits with 1 frenzy, that is a really, really big snowball that you have going on. So if you start off the game with Legion, go around and get 3 stabs, that is a super, super strong game. They're going to have to mend, and you're going to be on one of them, assumingly, by the end of that chase still. So you might even get it down, and yeah. It's got a lot of map pressure, and if they're not playing against you correctly, you can really, really snowball the game just like that. So that's why Legion's there, and add-ons and perks make him even stronger. So he could move up with those as well. So next on the list, I think I'm going to put the Trickster. He could probably go at the back or even down, but Trickster is feeling not too bad right now. It's like a weaker version of the Huntress, in my opinion. But overall, people are struggling to figure out how to play against the Trickster, and therefore I'm just going to put him here. His knives do just sometimes catch you off guard and get 1 hit, and he can just range you down if he knows what he's doing as well. So B tier for him, in my opinion. Demogorgon's up next. When I verse this killer, I don't struggle a lot, but if they're good at the game, you could have a rough time. Demogorgon is definitely a strong killer, but again, not the strongest, so I'm going to leave him here in the B tier. You can really do some work with shreds. You just fake the shred, and then when they go to fake the window, you turn back in and do an M1. Some things like that. And perks really go a long way to helping him as well. Things like Save the Best for Last are absolutely insane. So yeah, he is definitely a good killer. There's no doubt about that, but he doesn't compete with some of the best as well. All right, so next up, I think I'm going to have to put Pinhead just here. When I verse Pinhead, he's very, very easily dodged most of the time. His chains are quite difficult to land 100% of the time if the survivors are really playing well against you, and you can end up looping him for a while. You just need someone to stay on top of the box, which can be difficult for some newer players. They might not know about it, or might struggle to find it, or might get it dropped out of their hands. So sometimes he can snowball out of control with his box and stuff like that. But for the most part, I think he deserves to be in the B tier. So that's where I think he belongs. We're starting to get a really strong lineup here. All of these killers I would consider to be quite strong, but I think out of the ones that I'm looking at right now and what I've written down before, I still think Nemesis has to be right here. I think he's quite strong with the current meta. I think using Save the Best for Last on him makes him even stronger, especially now after the update. But in terms of counter ability, if you're not playing Nemesis correctly and you pull up the whip too often, or you don't know when you can whip or how far you can whip from, then you can be looped for a very long time. In saying that, I am not the greatest at looping him, but in my experience, I still have a rougher time with all of these other people down here. All right, so we're moving on to the next one now, and I'd have to say that I'm going to put twins here, just because sometimes the twins can be used wrongly. You can turn into Victor and you spend too long and you lose control of time, and if the survivors are playing in pairs or know what they're doing and you go too far away from where you have Charlotte, you can really just lose control of the game pretty much. Like, you get Victor on someone, they'll crush that or they'll heal, or you down someone with Victor, but they can then crush Victor when you go back to Charlotte and heal them up. So if you play in pairs and play correctly against the twins, she's not the best, but then again, she's still quite powerful for stopping those loops. You put yourself in between a pallet, like I did with my video last time, and then start up the Victor, you know, around Shack and things like that. People will lose the idea of what to do. They'll be waiting too long, and you can catch a lot of them off guard. All right, so I think that the rest of these killers are really, really, really strong right now. Deathslinger just got even stronger, so that's why I haven't put him on the tier list yet. If you haven't tried him, now is the time, because Dead Hard is no longer a thing. So basically, Dead Hard is non-existent to this guy. They can't dodge it using Dead Hard, so now windows are not safe. Before you get to a pallet, there's no, you know, free opportunity and stuff like that, so he can really close out the distance quickly. And with the hit after the shot as well, he's going to recover even quicker and give you less of a boost. So he can just catch up to you again and again and again and really put you down. And I think that's why he deserves a spot in the A tier. He is quite strong now. I know there's a lot of words going on right now, guys, but I'm going to leave timestamps to all the different killers in the description below. Hopefully that'll tell you what ones go where, and if you're looking for a specific killer, deciding who to level up, get some perks on next, hopefully this will help you just a little bit. Also, if you are enjoying, guys, please subscribe. I'm really trying to get 1,000 subscribers, and it means a lot to me. All right, moving on to the next killer. I think I'm going to have to put Huntress here. I'd actually say she's tied with Deathslinger, but I'll put her in front for now. Again, she's one of my favorite killers in the game. She's a lot of fun, and if you play her correctly, you have the right aim, you know the trajectory of her hatchets, you can make the survivors have a really, really rough time and get a lot of downs. So yeah, I definitely rate her in the A tier. She does have a high skill cap, but she definitely deserves that spot as well. All right, next up, I'm going to put the Oni in here. I think I've actually made a mistake, and I'm going to put the Oni in the middle of these two, because the Oni is difficult to maneuver with. So his ability is really hard to turn corners with for people who aren't experienced with it and don't know how to take an outside loop with his ability. You can just get cut on corners and then just be looped for quite some time. And I know that from experience, from playing the Oni and versing the Oni as well. I'm not the best at him, so I definitely know you can get looped for quite some time. But again, he is still really, really strong. His power is going to let you break pallets instantly. Sometimes you even get more than one person down if they aren't expecting it. And the trails of blood do give quite a good amount of info. So yeah, that's why he deserves his spot in the A tier. Next up, I think the Plague is going to go here, because the Plague has been feeling really strong lately. She has a lot of map pressure. She stops people from cleansing, therefore she has some potential to instantly down people as well. And she's just basically like a stronger version of the Huntress, in my opinion. I really like it when you play Plague as like a map dominator in the early game. You go around spewing all the gens, and from that point on, you know when someone is touching one of those gens, and they are slowly but surely being ticked down into that lower health state until they cleanse, if they decide to, of course. And if they do that, then you're even stronger. You go and take the pool, and if they're not playing carefully around it, you just get a lot of free hits, and it can just get out of control with Plague for sure. So I definitely think that she deserved this spot right there. All right, so I think next up we have the Pyramid Head. Now, he is a really strong killer, but once again, quite a hard killer. Make no mistake, it is very easy to juke him, especially if you don't know how to play him. Once again, it's all a mind game with him. If you want to fake it and then go for the M1, might cause them to walk through a pallet because they thought you were going to use your ability instead, and you can get free hits like that. So it's really just a mind game, 50-50 at every point, and if you have the correct knowledge with him, you can put people down really quick. Now, getting into our really strong killers now that I don't know where to place. Obviously, there's a few in here that I know I'm going to put in the S tier because they're just way too strong, but I'm just deciding what order to put them in right now. And I think next up, it has to be the Hag. Out of these bunch, I think she is just slightly the weakest. She is still super strong. People walk into her traps all the time. And it is super difficult to manage her. If you do have someone running around the map and popping her traps at the right way, I did it the other day and it was super toxic. If you just stand right at the range of her traps and use that to your advantage, you can end up winning the game against her. But I'm gonna have to say that she sits in the top of the A tier because of that one reason, that her traps are easily manipulated if you know what you're doing. Alright, so next up, I'm going to put the Dredge right here. The Dredge is really strong. He has full map teleportation. Obviously, not every time you can teleport on someone, and you can lock them. But after that, after the game's been going for a while and you have broken some lockers, it becomes really strong. And also, I like to bring the brown add-on that tells me which lockers are locked, and that helps a lot. So a brown add-on being a really good add-on for no matter what situation. It's better than some of his very rare add-ons in my opinion. Knowing what lockers are locked will be the difference between getting it down and letting them go once you teleport. And then you can also use it to have a look around, see what's locked, and then maybe go and clear them up when you go past them as well. So it's just a good amount of info from him. You got the heartbeat as well when you teleport, and you got that surprise factor to catch people off guard. It's just map-wide terror, map-wide harassment, and with that nightfall as well, some people really struggle to see where you're coming from, and then they obviously can't hear you, so you end up getting a few people walking into you and some free downs as well. Alright, so in my opinion, the last 4 killers all have a spot where they could be an S tier. I think we'll start with Nurse. We all know Nurse is the best killer in the game. She probably always will be unless they keep nerfing her, but the ability to just teleport like she does right now is absolutely insane. And the skill for her is a little bit lower compared to Blight in my opinion. So yeah, that's why she's the S tier killer. She can have chases where pallets mean nothing, windows mean nothing, and she can just put you down within 2 hits or like 20 seconds. Every chase can be like that, and especially paired with the right perks, she is a force to be reckoned with. So definitely Nurse, as always, is going to go there for me. Next up, we have Blight. I'm going to say he's a short second to the Nurse. He's super strong. There's a few things you'll want to learn with him. It doesn't say it in his tooltip, but you can break pallets by auto-attacking or left-clicking M1 after a charge. That's a nice way to break pallets. You can also do a thing called a hug tech, where you hug around a building instead of slamming into it, and that'll let you get unexpected hits on people around Shack and other places like that. And just the amount of movement speed he has and how fast he is just gives him just such a good ability to just put people down and also just outplay them. Honestly, a bad Blight is easy to work around, but again, the better you are, the harder it is, as for most killers. But definitely Blight, he has a huge window there where you can just either do really well against him, or he'll just kill you in 2 seconds, just like the Nurse. So yeah, these are close to each other, but the Nurse just takes the pick there. And then I think I'm going to put Artist in the top of A tier instead of S, because she is quite hard as well. If you don't use her birds right, she can get quite out of hand. You're going to want to only use one bird most of the time, and then send that so you can have a faster recharge and get an injure on them. That's my opinion, so that's why she's in the A tier. If you know how to play her really well, I think she'd make her way into the back of the S tier, but for now, for me, she's in the A tier. But she is a lot of fun, and she's super strong, don't get me wrong, but I think that's her spot for me as well. Alright, so next up, I think I'm going to put the Spirit behind in the A tier, because I mean, when I go up against a Nurse and a Blight, at the start of the game, I'm like, oh no. A Spirit, it's a little bit more manageable. There's a lot more mind games that go on, and you have a little bit of a higher chance to win those as well. So this is why I think Spirit is just not deserving of that top S tier spot. So yeah, guys, that's basically what I think of things now after the update. I'm just gonna have a look and see if I would move anything in here. I'd probably put Legion above Trickster just from my own personal experience, and maybe Deathslinger, Deathslinger just in here now, something like that. But yeah, this is a pretty accurate estimation of the killers. I might even move Hillbilly down more because honestly, I haven't been seeing him be that effective lately. I honestly haven't, so I'm not sure where I'd put him, maybe there. But for the most part, guys, if you did enjoy today's video, please let me know. Let me know what you would change in the comments below. If you feel something that's down here that's way too weak from my point of view and you think it should be up more, like, I mean, Wraith might be there, or Clown you might think's there, or I don't know, maybe you've been versing some really good Hillbillies lately. Anything like that, let me know in the comments below, guys. Again, this is my opinion on it and my take from playing the game. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for today. I really hope you did enjoy. If you did, please subscribe. Again, it means the world to me, and I'll see all you guys tomorrow with the next one. Peace, guys.